Thank you. Next, the city of Buffalo, New York, was the target of absolute evil over the weekend. Our prayers continue to be with the people of the city of Buffalo. But today, President Biden spoke in Buffalo in response to last weekend's attacks, in which 10 people were killed and 3 others were injured. Here's what he had to say.
What happened here is simple and straightforward. Terrorism. Terrorism. Domestic terrorism.
Joining me now to discuss the president's visit is Virginia Kruta of the Daily Wire. Virginia, welcome to Washington Watch.
Hi, thanks for having me on.
We are glad to have you. Now, obviously, everyone is horrified by what happened there. It's appropriate that the president was there expressing the sadness and unity of the American people. Was there anything about this visit that was a surprise to you?
Not really a surprise. Actually, what was interesting to me was that he tried so very quickly in his remarks to tie this to Charlottesville. The talking points have clearly been issued, and so I realize he's there to display empathy. He's there to talk to the victims and their families, and to show support, to say, America is behind you. And obviously that's true. We're all praying for the families of those who were killed. But he immediately made this about the replacement theory, and this idea that obviously it was in the alleged shooter's manifesto, where he was talking about being replaced over time by minority populations. And it seems like it's the next thing that Biden and the Democrats are grabbing onto to make the next political point. So instead of making this all about the victims, he turned it into kind of this is how we move to the next step and take this to our next political victory. And that's kind of what it felt like to me. Not necessarily a surprise, but that felt like where he was going.
Virginia, when you say it feels like he's looking to take this to the next step, what do you perceive that next step to be?
Well, if you look at what Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer did while Biden was in Buffalo, Schumer stood on the Senate floor today and talked about how replacement theory was horrible and the people promoting it needed to be condemned. And the people promoting it, he named Fox News host Tucker Carlson, who he said has mentioned replacement theory 400 times since 2016. And he then sent a letter to Fox News today, following that, with a letter to Fox News condemning the network for not stopping Tucker Carlson from saying this. And he's suggesting that they need to stop it right now. I don't know if you saw this, but the next thing Tucker did was invite Schumer onto his show to debate him, which Schumer announced on Twitter and then said, I'm not going to do it, but Tucker needs to stop saying these things.
Virginia, I'm a fairly informed person when it comes to a lot of these issues, and I don't think I'd heard the term replacement theory until a handful of days ago, and now it seems to be like this thing that the left is obsessed with. Is this the left's version of critical race theory, where they're trying to make this a political wedge issue? Where did this come from?
Well, that's a very interesting comparison. And I've heard Tucker talk about it before, where the idea is that if you wanted to nutshell it, Democrats prefer open borders because open borders allow more illegal immigrants into the country, and that dilutes the political power of anyone who would oppose Democrats, because they assume that they're importing voters who would be friendly to their policies. So that's what the idea of replacement theory is. And that's how Tucker's explained it. So yeah, it's not really complicated. And if you think about it in those general terms, you can see it happening. If you have open borders and the people coming across the borders are going to support Democrats, it's not a difficult step to make. But then they put this kind of boogeyman term on it and use it to say, okay, and anybody who believes this is bad.
Well, Virginia, I think the left may be confused about this because I think the people coming across the border are exceedingly unlikely to believe that boys can become girls. And so I don't think they can count on their political allegiance in the way they believe they can. That seems to be a uniquely white problem in America, but that remains to be seen. We are out of time. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you.
When